All right, let's just dive right into it because today we're talking about something that drives so many entrepreneurs crazy. It's that feeling, right? That you're stuck. You're pouring every ounce of energy you have into your business, but you've just hit a wall. We're going to get into exactly why that happens, and here's a little spoiler. It has almost nothing to do with how hard you're working. I mean, does this hit home for you? You're putting in those 12-hour days. You're wearing what, like a dozen different hats? And yeah, maybe the money is okay, but the business itself, it just isn't getting bigger. It's like you're on a hamster wheel, running faster and faster just to stay in the exact same spot. If that sounds familiar, trust me, you are not alone. This is a super common problem. And this problem has a name. We call it the exhausting hustle trap. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's when your entire business becomes totally dependent on your personal effort. It feels really productive because you're always busy, but it's a trap. And it's a trap that's designed to keep your business small and, honestly, to keep you right on the edge of burning out. So let's see if any of these sound familiar. You're so buried in the day-to-day, dealing with customers, fixing tech issues, putting out fires, that you have zero time to think about the big picture that's working in the business. And because of that, any kind of growth just feels like pushing a giant boulder up a hill. And of course, because you're the sun in the solar system, every single problem, no matter how small, ends up right on your desk. You've become the chief everything officer. And wow, is it draining. So the obvious solution is to just work harder, right? Stay later, get up earlier. I mean, that's what we're all taught to do. But here's the twist, and it's a big one. Your hard work, that hustle you're so proud of, might actually be the very thing holding you back. It might be the bottleneck that's keeping your business from really taking off. Okay, this right here, this is the main idea. Just let it soak in for a second. The reason businesses fail isn't a lack of effort, it's a lack of design. The whole thing was built to rely on you, not to run without you. It was accidentally designed to be a job for you, not an asset that could grow on its own. And for most founders, that is a huge mental shift. Let's just put it as simply as possible. Effort does not equal progress. Being busy is not the same thing as moving forward. You see, in a business that isn't designed for growth, all your extra effort just makes things more complicated and makes the business depend on you even more. It doesn't create real scalable progress. So this brings us to a really important distinction you have to make. What you think is a business might actually just be a really complicated, high-effort hustle. And hey, hustles can make money, for sure, but they can't scale. Let's break down that invisible line between just being busy and actually building a real business. Check this out, because this comparison is everything. A hustle relies on the founder. If you get sick or go on vacation, everything just stops. But a real business relies on systems. A hustle is always reacting to problems, while a real business is actually designed to anticipate them. A hustle runs on your personal effort. A real business, though, it runs on its structure. And that all leads to the most important difference. A hustle creates a really demanding job for you, but a real business creates an asset that has value completely separate from you. So, if the big problem is a lack of design, then the solution has to be intentional structure. This is the part that, let's be honest, most of us ignore when we start out, because we're just so focused on getting those first few sales. But structure, that's the secret sauce. That's what lets a business finally grow beyond its founder and start to scale in a predictable way. I mean, this really says it all, doesn't it? You don't just get lucky and accidentally build a huge company. Real sustainable growth is never an accident. It comes from deliberately designing your business to handle more customers, more employees, more everything, without completely breaking down. And, more importantly, without breaking you. Okay, so what does structure actually mean in the real world? It's not that complicated. It really boils down to three main things. First, how you track your numbers. And I don't just mean profit, I mean the key drivers of your business. Second, how are decisions made? Is everything just based on your gut feeling, or is there an actual process? And third, the holy grail. How does work get done correctly every single time without you having to be involved? So why do we even bother with all this? What's the payoff? Well, when you build these systems, you stop guessing. You get total clarity on what's really going on in your business. You get control over the results, and you create predictability in your sales, in your operations. You get to trade all that chaos for a little bit of calm. Look, this is not just some boring business school theory. This is about you, right now, grabbing the steering wheel and designing the future of your company. And by doing that, you're designing the future of your own life. And the very first step is just to be brutally honest with yourself about where you are today. So let's get real for a second. Take a look at this list. What's the biggest roadblock for you? Most people immediately say sales or cash flow. A lot of people say they just don't have enough time. But so often, all of those things are just symptoms. And the real root cause, the hidden problem, is a total lack of structure. Which one of these really hits home for you? All right, I have a feeling that for some of you watching this, you might be feeling a little uncomfortable, maybe a little called out. And I want to tell you straight up, that is a fantastic thing. That discomfort you're feeling, that's the feeling of your whole perspective starting to shift. It is the very first sign that you're finally seeing what's been holding you back. That feeling is your starting line. That's where real growth begins. You know, the biggest mistake you can make is to feel that discomfort, ignore it, and just go back to hustling even harder. The time to build systems isn't when your business is already huge. Building systems is the only way it's ever going to get huge. So the only question left is, what's the one system you could start building today?